with a cabaret variety show broadcast planned in the evening, and a new performer joining the team. Everything seems to be going south for the Feebles show. The star of the show is in crisis over her cheating partner and executive producer. The knife thrower is suffering with addiction withdrawals. A bunny co-host might be dying, rotting away with what might be a sexually transmitted infection, only referred to as the big one. And the show itself serves as a front for the production of pornography and a drug smuggling ring. With only a few hours left to go before the audience arrives, and the broadcast is set to air, this is probably one of the few times where the show must not go on. This is Peter Jackson's giddily grotesque adult puppet comedy Meet The Feebles, a crude, intentionally juvenile subversion of stereotypically family-friendly variety shows and puppetry, the obvious comparison being the Muppets of course. The Feebles are the ugliest pack of puppets and costumes, with exaggerated, sometimes borderline offensive features, often the punchline of numerous ambitious gross-out gags. With its genuinely impressive special effects work that meshes puppetry with disgusting spectacles of gore, puke and piss, Peter Jackson certainly earned his reputation as a master of special effects filmmaking early in his career. The film portrays the undeniable seediness and exploitation of the show business landscape that has so often been romanticised. While purposely ugly by design, the puppetry and costumes in Meet The Feebles are impressive in their elaborate details and articulation, making these monstrous creations of felt and fabric as expressive as the puppetry effects of bigger budget productions. The intent is clearly to create ugly depictions of its puppet cast, some of the appearances being exaggerated, offensive depictions of racial stereotypes, such as the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War veteran flashback. Meet The Feebles is a film unafraid of scraping the bottom of the barrel for cheap gags and jabs, but in doing so it delves into the grubbier depths of transgressive irony, such as depicting the Viet Cong as cannibals, willing to eat puppet flesh, while also discussing political theory and dismantling bourgeoisie expectations. First comes the offensive visual connection, followed by the audience's unexpected confrontation with political discussion, as if the film is intent on embracing the irony of graphic violence, followed by the out-of-the-blue friendly debate. It's a momentary rug pull, both an offensive stereotype and a subversion of the offensive stereotyping. This is the brand of humour Meet The Feebles strives for, close to the edge irony, or a bombardment of gore, because, no doubt about it, gore is also a punchline throughout the film, such as when the knife thrower chucks a blade into the air, only for it to land straight through his own head. Gore serves as a punchline in the way that many jokes gain their laughter, through the impact of shock. Of course, it wouldn't be a Peter Jackson film without impressive special effects on display. Even if we find Meet The Feebles disgusting, horrific, offensive, or hilarious, it's hard to deny how splendid and imaginative the practical effects are here. When Heidi the hippo, the distraught star of the show, during the film's climax, bursts through the finale musical number, blasting heads with a machine gun, Peter Jackson doesn't shy away, the film clearly excited to show us up close how these faces cave in, blood splattering everywhere, puppet fabric flying like skull fragments. It's pure audacious transgression. The balance of a cutesy puppet facade, disrupted with truly grisly gore, can't be an easy balance to achieve, and yet Peter Jackson does so. Maybe it's why the violent blow of Meet The Feebles continues to be the stuff of cult cinema legend. Pustules ooze and rot, puke is spewed like a fire hose, and a phallic nose becomes runny with ejaculatory snot. It's in the crude versatility of the film's special effects that Meet The Feebles achieves its most grotesque moments, and it's this dexterity of practical effects, with Peter Jackson at the helm, that clearly served as a foundation for the creation of grizzled, sludgy and monstrous creations that would feature within Jackson's legendary The Lord of the Rings adaptation trilogy. The orcs and the Uruk-hai wouldn't look quite the same if Peter Jackson hadn't built his filmmaking reputation on cult splatter cinema. Heidi the hippo's final action of massacring the production, in retaliation to the fury she feels towards her lover and executive producer Bletch, who continues to manipulate Heidi for his own gain. While excessive and exaggerated, the action itself is clearly a form of recognition and a rejection of the exploitative means that linger within certain aspects of show business. Encouraging, condemning, enjoying, or finding disgusting Heidi's final action is irrelevant. What is relevant is that her action is a reflection of frustration, an eventual pushback against the forms of abuse, gaslighting, and exploitation that many performers may have experienced. Coercion into the performances that the actor isn't comfortable with, the mounting pressure to deliver a show when their mental health is struggling, or being pressured into sex by a power imbalance that suggests you'll gain success if you go ahead with it. These are all exploitative injustices that Heidi the Hippo experiences at the hands of Bletch for the sake of a show, and while every aspect of Meet the Feebles is reminiscent of kids telling each other increasingly dirtier jokes, including Heidi's storyline, there's also the sense that Peter Jackson was criticising the people who abuse power within the entertainment industry. Not only is this film a subversion of family-friendly puppetry as a medium, but it's a subversion of the romanticism surrounding artistic success too. Maybe having your name in lights isn't all that it's cracked up to be. In conclusion, Peter Jackson's Meet the Feebles earns its reputation. It's gross, it's immature, it's slimy, grubby, and there's no shame if you find this film offensive either. The sense of humour throughout the film is so excessively crass that it might not even be funny to many watching it today. However, this is a film with impressive puppetry, visual effects, surprisingly enjoyable campy musical numbers, and a vicious sense for irony that isn't afraid to eviscerate grifters and abusers within the industry it's inspired by. At times, Meet the Feebles reaches the filthy absurd heights of John Waters. All in all, this is pure trash filth of the nastiest order. A special thank you to my incredible tier Patreon supporter Gil, and my super tier Patreon supporters Constantine Bombelli, Jamie, and Milkway.